Hello everyone and welcome to the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast, brought to you by Sacred You. On today's show we are joined by Jo Irwin, an emotional and energetic empowerment coach. Jo is the brilliant creator of Empower You and Finding You Time. She is also an accomplished author and speaker. In our conversation today, we will delve into the powerful journey of self-discovery and remembering who you truly are, a topic that is close to Jo's heart and resonates deeply with our mission here at Sacred You. And if you'd really like to support Sacred You, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, or check us out at www.sacredyou, that's the letter U, .love for more valuable resources. May you enjoy today's conversation and have a beautiful day.
Hello everyone and welcome to Pathways to Wellbeing in Sacred You. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Jo Irwin. Now Joanne is an emotional and energetic empowerment coach. She is the creator of Empower You and Finding You Time, and she's also an author. You've written a book, that's really awesome, and a speaker. So welcome Jo, it's really lovely to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Helen. It's lovely to be here, and I'm excited for our conversation today. And as I was just saying, we do similar work, so I think it's going to be gorgeous to really engage with our audience on how we can really hone in and develop ourselves in a way that possibly you hadn't thought of before. My work's quite deep and different, but I'm sure yours is unique as well. So I'm excited.
Good. And what I love about what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to delve into shortly is remembering who you are. And I love this topic because we are all born as these beautiful balls of love and light. Go a little bit off path, life happens, and then we get back on. So before we delve into that, can you share a little bit with us, Jo? What has led you to here?
Have you got a few days? Oh my goodness. I was reflecting back this morning, right? And it's just been one long journey. And I really can't specifically say it was one thing, but there was many things along the way that kept me moving towards finding me and finding who I was in the world. I did grow up in an interesting, in a big family. I was the eldest of the second eldest of six, but the eldest girl. A lot of responsibility. There was a lot of trauma. And this is life. Parents are just trying to do the best they can to give their children the best life they can. And sometimes it can be chaotic, but I think through that chaos, we learn to navigate the best way we can. Yeah, a lot of little things. I've always been on a journey of there has to be something more. There has to be something bigger than who I particularly am. And I was lost for a very long time. And when I left home at the age of 17, I fell into the drugs and the alcohol scene and trying to find myself. Unbeknownst to me, I was really just, the word that comes is, hiding from the world, but also self-medicating in a way to try and just survive. And so all sorts of things. I had a baby at 18, two beautiful girls who are now very successful in their life. That relationship didn't last. And then I met what I thought was the man of my dreams. I had two beautiful sons too, and that fell apart. So it was all these continually just nothing at the time felt like nothing I did was working.
Yeah.
But underneath that, it was about my own self-belief. And each time something happened, I would be just crippling and punishing myself even. I think it was the catalyst was the second relationship where I really had to look at really deeply inside myself. And I was already on the path of personal development and spirituality, thank goodness, because in that relationship, he was on that as well. So it was beautiful. However, it just took me, like everything happens for a purpose. Everything happens for a reason, right? So it put me in a position where I had to, because I was pregnant with my fourth child when he left. So it was almost like, God, come on, universe, give me something, right? To pull me out of this, to survive, because it was survival at that point. And to be honest, the universe, God, whoever was surrounding me at the time always came through, even though I felt like I was in a pit. Started turning to things like Louise Hay, meditation centers, ashrams, things that were keeping me alive, because I had to be alive to support my 4 children. So I think that was probably the most important turning point for me. And everything.
So that's when you really got into the whole personal development. So before that, you knew about it, and there was some, but this was.
I was already in personal development. My girls were going to a Steiner school where we had access to spiritual teachings, and I was also involved in an ashram. I'd done some empowerment courses. I'd done mind courses where I actually used the techniques to give up alcohol, to give up smoking. So I knew they worked.
Right. Yeah.
I knew they worked. And that was, and then it was not long after that, then my husband left at the time. And so I was already there. But I think when something is significant for me, like it might not be significant for everybody, but for me, it was another trauma that I was experiencing, unbeknownst to all the other stuff I didn't know was running underneath me from my childhoods. But that was the one that, like, come on, this, I have to step up. I've got 4 children. I can't lay down. I wanted to.
Yes.
Days I didn't want to get out of bed. And I drive the children to school an hour and a half each way to their Steiner school with 2 babies in the car when they were born, and my pajamas. I didn't want to see the world. So drop them off, get back. And then what shifted is I guess, Louise Hay, number one. I was looking for stuff, but also I think community is a really big part of this, because the ashram where I was going each week to meditate, there was a beautiful community there. And one of my friends was involved in Steiner, and she lived close by. So she was there to help me, hold me, get me through. So I think that the power of support is one of the most important, would you call it a tool? Yeah.
I think it's what is deeply ingrained in us. We weren't put on this earth to live by ourselves.
No.
So that sense of community, I think, is really strong within us. And it's great that you had that. You had that around you. So it was, because a lot of people don't. When they feel lost, they're actually alone and they don't know where to turn. So I think it's fantastic that you had that around you, and you had such beautiful people there to show you there's different choices, there's different ways, there's different realities that you can experience. So community is, and I think too, with what's happened in the last few years, I think it's really brought home to a lot of people just how important that connection, and we're starting to come back into reconnecting with people and wanting to do the face-to-face. Zoom is amazing, and it connects us with people across the other side of the world. It's an incredible technology. However, I think we're really yearning that face-to-face where you can touch people, give them a hug, and just be in that energy with them.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly important.
Support. Yeah. It's just, what do we say? Support is your superpower. Calling out for that. But the other support person was my mum.
Yeah.
And she was actually about my age now. Oh, she's probably 60 at the time. And she was going through her own health challenges. She lived an hour and a half away, but she would come down whenever I needed her. And unfortunately, the day after her 61st birthday, she passed away. So it was a year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was 9 months after the birth of my 4th child, and she being my support. When you talk about support, like the one person, mums, they're just So underrated, aren't they? She would come at the drop of a hat when I needed her, and it was just like, oh, another bang. Come on, give me a break. Losing your mom is one of the...
I don't even want to think about that day. Yeah, I can imagine just how horrid that would have been for you, Jo, and I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, and we're talking now, I'm 63 now, so it must be 27 years or something ago, but But yes, it was at that point, oh, what do I do? And I just kept calling it in because I needed money to support the children. They were at this time at school, for goodness sake. I needed food on the table. And I put it out there, and I kept just asking. I think this is really important. When you ask the right questions, and you will receive, what you need. And that blew me away, because I was like, how am I going to create a life for my family on my own? I was looking for work. I didn't even know how that would even work, because was still breastfeeding the young one. But my neighbor came running in one day and said, oh, Jo, there's this ad in the paper, and this is what I call following the divine breadcrumbs of life. It was a work from home. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll ring and find out what it is. That business is still part of me today. We're talking like 35 years ago. Yeah. So that I was able to do from home around the children. It was health and nutrition. It was everything that I was aligned with. Oh my goodness, like when I look back and go, I get goosebumps. I think, I can't believe I attracted that. And I became like one of the top salespeople in the company, and they took me around the world. A single mom of 4 children went around the world. Who does that? Right? And being in the greats of, and this is where the real personal development came in. And we know that as women in business, everything's going to show up for us when we're in business. It's going to shine a light for us to grow and evolve, because we want it so much, and we're going to keep going and not ever give up. But I met Jim Rohn, and I had the privilege of being with him like in resorts, Sentosa Island, for 7 days, like personally. Wow. Eating breakfast. And so talking about doing the great, being with the greats of the greats. And he trained Tony Robbins. He was his mentor, and I'm big on Tony as well. I did all of his work. I worked with Tony. So it was like all these things just were showing up for me, and the money was like, pinch me. How do I do all that? And no, it wasn't easy, because with the children, I'd have to be working at nights and working around them. But it was just beautiful, because I could be there for them that whole time. Isn't that amazing? Finding something that you can be with your children. How many people struggle with having to go out to work and do those long hours to bring in the income we're so blessed, aren't we?
Absolutely.
And then daycare and things like that. It's just, and there was times when I used resources like that. I had to, but primarily I was 90% with my children growing up. And I look at them today as adults in their 40s and 30s. And some of the things I go, oh, come on, can you slow down a bit? Because I see me in them, because I used to work, out in my little office till all hours once I put them to bed. And sometimes I have to say, come on, girls, you can do it easier now. And I know a different way.
But they've grown up watching what you do, and there's so much more power in what we do. This is why it's so important to be the role model, because they don't care what you say. At the end of the day, it's, whatever, Mum. I'm not going to listen to you because you're not doing that thing. I'm watching you and I'm learning through what I see. And now, I guess, now that you can show them through your actions that there is a different way. Yes, there's that way, and you've done that way. Yes. And so being that role model, I think, is so important. I just want to circle back to something you said before, Jo, where you were talking about asking the right questions. Expand on that for me. What you mean by what are the right questions?
Okay. What I mean by that is positive, powerful questions in the right way. So how can I do this in the most easiest practical way, in the timing that I need it for me, rather than the opposite, why isn't it all happening for me? I'm asking for things that are not happening, because we can say that and then we're retracting it by the things that come after that. So I would I would stand on my kitchen wall where I'd printed out, I don't know if you've done any of Louise L. Hay work. No, she had healed my life, and she had done amazing things. And it was all mainly through affirmations, and this whole page, this is where I think my visioning started, because it was, I am doing this, I am living this, I am, as if it's already happened. So this whole statement, and I'd stand there every single day and just read it out loud, right? I didn't know if it was going to work or not, but I was desperate.
Yeah.
And I do believe that was that started the trajectory of all the things that followed from that. So saying I am already that, of who I am innately, that is who I am, and I'm living in a home which is full of laughter and warmth, and it was all these beautiful words, right? And my work is rewarding, and I'm doing what I love, and I'm attracting all the people around me that I love. And I loved reading it because it felt so good, right? Even though
that is the key though, Jo. So for anyone watching this, that is the actual key. The words you were reading made you feel good. Because if the words you're reading don't make you feel good, you're not going to attract what you want. That's that whole vibration. And just what you said before about you're asking, how can this happen? Or even what needs to happen for me to be able to? Starting your questions with either a how or a what, and never, ever go into the why questions. Why questions will take you down a tunnel faster than you can blink.
Exactly.
So that's really important for anyone watching this to really take that away. If you're asking why questions, stop it.
Yes.
Reframe them to hows and to, what needs to happen.
Yes.
And the affirmations, they can be incredibly powerful as long as you feel good saying the words. And a little trick that I tell people, if you're having trouble with the whole I am, some people can struggle with that. I am successful, and they've got that little devil on their shoulder going, no, you're not. You're kidding yourself.
Because those limiting beliefs are coming up. Yeah.
Exactly. So the way to get around that is to say you are. And think of someone who's successful. Think of someone who has the quality, the thing, the whatever it is that you want. Imagine them and say the you are's, and because your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between self and others. This is why it's so important that we are kind to ourselves and that we are kind to other people, because if we're talking smack about somebody else, your unconscious mind thinks you're talking about you. So use that to your advantage. You are happy, you are successful, you are living the life that aligns with your values. Whatever it is, just make your words make you feel good. It's the feeling that everyone really needs to take away from this. The words, talk is cheap.
As they say, you can say it. And I had this conversation with a client yesterday. It's my only male client, by the way, because I normally work with women, but he's been with me for years, and we meet once a month now. And he said, I feel like I've just been doing the motions with my, morning routine and just saying what I think I need to say. And he said, I realized I became aware of what I was missing, and it was the feeling of that.
Yeah.
Then we had to, okay, so how can we do this differently?
Yeah.
That you're actually feeling it and believing it. Because if we say it enough, eventually we're rewiring those neural pathways to actually, yes, I am that. One day you wake up and you feel, but the thing is, people just stop before they get to that point. They don't continue. And I used to do affirmations for a while there, until I really went into when I did NLP and realized that, it's actually like exactly what you said. You're not saying it the way that you believe that it can be. And when you get that piece, and I get my clients to write it in a story, how your life will be in that time period that you want it to be. And that's different for everyone. And if it doesn't happen in that time period, are you willing to continue until? Because you just don't know when it's going to happen. It can happen like overnight, and then it can take 10 years. But
exactly,
if we give up, we're never actually going to reach that. And blessed for me that I turned my life around pretty quickly. And I think that's the power of the work that we do. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes down to you had a big driving purpose, your children that you obviously love so very much and would do anything for. Your maternal instinct just kicked into overdrive, and you drew a line in the sand. I need to do something, and I'm going to keep doing until I get what it is that you want. Yeah. So having that determination and making that decision, there's incredible power in making a decision. And then that also allows the universe to bring you stuff. It's if you're not clear, it's like, this, and the universe is going, well, okay, what am I giving you? I'll give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Yeah. This is what I want, and I'm clear about it, and
nothing's going to stop me.
This is how it is. It's like the universe going, right, on it, gotcha.
Yep, exactly. And something popped in there about when you were talking. Yeah, universe got your clarity, decision. Yeah, it'll come back.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. But it was really, when things they seem really important right there, and then they go. But anyway,
it'll come back.
It'll come back.
So talk to me about, remembering who you are. At what point, was there a point, or did it just happen over time where and then in reflection, it was like you were remembering, or did you have I
just remembered what I was going to say. And I think it's really important too, because at the time, even though we're just talking about saying the words, but actually reading it and feeling it was important, I was in a pit. Like I don't like to call it depression. I call it despair. But there was days where I didn't think I was going to get through the day. So even though I was feeling that way, I still managed to show up and do what I needed to do to get through it. And I think that's the survival brain kicking in as well. But yeah, it was some scary days. So I just want to make sure that people understand it, no matter how bad things are for you, just continue to show up and do what you can do to get you through the day. And that was the one thing I could do, read an extract from Louise or Hay. So that just came to me. Remembering who I came through a lot of work, a lot of work, because I spent 7 years in another spiritual school where we learnt various techniques and releasing emotional stuckness out of our body, and working with the third eye. So learning to develop the intuition, third eye, but also releasing all of those emotions that we carry for so long. And that was very powerful work.
Yeah.
It was hard work, but it was super, super powerful. And we had a technique that we learnt in that process, which was really beautiful, and that went on into past lives, and it was amazing work. So I think that is when I really started to really go, here I am, like that. I could see why my life was the way it was, and why I was here, and the work I was meant to do. And it was in a period where my eldest brother had passed away at that time. He was only 39. And amazing, I was able to help support him in his transition through that period. So incredible experiences in that time. And then it just, from there, I went on to Tony Robbins and doing all this Tony stuff. And so I've always been I call myself a personal development junkie. It was better than, but always wanting to learn more. And in the business that I was doing, I was working with health and nutrition, but also weight loss. And I don't like to say that, but weight management. But then it was weight loss was a big thing. Everyone wanted to lose weight. And I'd help all these people get to their goal. And then within months, they were back on the same trajectory of putting it all back. And I went, there's got to be something more here. There's a disconnect. Why we can't just continue doing the things that we know work and then know they're getting the results, but then we sabotage ourselves and go back into those old behaviors and based on our programming, which is what I know now. And that's when I decided to go and study NLP and hypnosis. And then the penny really dropped. Okay, all right, we've got to work with the mind here more so than anything else, and transform that, or teach people how to use the mind to empower themselves to stay on that path of where they want to be, not just keep defaulting back to that old patterns of behavior. And so that, and I know you do a bit of that work too, so that's what's exciting.
And I love what you were saying I was reading in something you had written, where we tend to focus on what's wrong with us. And this is what you're talking about. People will lose the weight, but then they'll go back into those old programs. And the default for a lot of people is, what's wrong with me, and focusing on what's wrong with me. Whereas you get them to look at, okay, actually, what's right isn't the right word, but what do you want? What is good with me? What is right with me? What is positive within me? And causing that to be the focus, because we do have a choice. Everyone has a choice, and giving up is a choice. Thinking you don't have a choice is a choice. And sometimes it's if we can stay on the weight thing, it's easy to lose weight. It's just a little bit easier to sit on the couch. It's easy to get up and go for a walk or a run or go to the gym. It's just a little bit easier to watch Netflix. But that is all a choice. And when you choose you, and you keep choosing you, no matter what happens, because there's going to be the ups and downs, and your life has, that's a testament to just how much it can go up and down. But you kept choosing you and doing something small. People think they have to do these big grand gestures, they have to do these big grand achievements, but it's the little things, like writing out the words that make you feel good and reading them. It's a little thing, but when you do little things over and over and over and over again, they turn into these big massive things. So I love that is how you work with people, how you get them to don't look at what's wrong, look at what's right. You'll always find evidence of what you're looking for.
Exactly. And through that process, so as I said before, things are going to come up, but then you work with them in that moment, like the beliefs, and then work with them. But the big part about this is, and we've tapped into it before, is your why. My why was my children. What is your why? Why do you want this? You say don't ask why, but when you're
there's strategic ways to talk about why.
In this context, like, why do I want this? And then just list all the reasons. Like, it has to be bigger than you. Like, it has to, but for me, it was my children. Has to be a bigger purpose. Why? What is it going to give me? How's it going to make me feel? What does that look like? Who am I connecting with as a result of achieving this? What am I receiving? And monetary as well. And money can be people can see that as a really evil thing, but it's a powerful thing when you can provide for another child or a community.
Exactly.
And I think there's a lot of limiting beliefs around that we could talk about that all day.
Exactly. Because of the beliefs that we're growing up with, the throwaway comments, money's the root of all evil, and people with money are bad, or
money doesn't grow on trees.
Money doesn't grow on trees, all of those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, money is just the currency that we have. Back in the day, we would have said, shells are evil, because we were trading shells, or cattle are evil. But did you know what I mean? That's how ridiculous it is. But like you were saying, when you have money, is choices. That's all money is. Because you can then help more people. Definitely
That's a
getting
big
rid
one.
of
I
the
think we need
shame
to,
around
yeah,
money.
I think that's a big one we need to talk more about and reframe around for many people, because
yeah, and
all of us have
especially
grown up,
women, I think.
and even people that have grown up with money,
Yeah, there can be shame around that as
a
well.
lot of
Yeah.
shame and have that lack. And yeah, it is scarcity mindset, right? But yeah, I feel like there's a big piece there, and because if we can empower more women to have more financial security, imagine the world.
Yeah.
Because we use it for so much good. I know I would.
And this is the thing, money just amplifies the person. That's all it does. So if you're not a nice person, you're not going to be a nice person whether you've got money or don't have money.
Yeah.
And if you're a nice person, you're still going to be a nice person whether you have money or you don't have money. It doesn't change who you are. It just changes what you're able to do. It just gives you more choice.
Exactly. And that's coming back to remembering who you are, with or without, but with, it's your birthright. And it is a part that it's just a little part. Maybe you could just have a little look at and say, where does that come from, and how can I overcome this and become more abundant so that I can use money for good, for the things that purpose are. And because yes, you're so right there. It just enhances already who you are. And if you're already that of who you are, that person, that soul that was born on the planet for great things, then that is all you need to be. And it will just amplify all of that and radiate out of you so that you will attract more and help more people, because that's who you are.
That's who you are. Exactly. It's who you are. And I love that, Jo. I've really enjoyed our chat today. Anyone who is watching this and maybe they are feeling a little bit lost, they've come away from who they are and they want to reconnect with who they are. How can they do that? How can they work with you? How can they contact you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a huge part of the Sacred You community, if anyone's in the Sacred You community. And I encourage you all to be in the Sacred You community, because we talk about the support and we talk about community and the power of community. That is a platform that everybody is incredibly.
It's a beautiful community, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So definitely there you'll find me. I run a tribe there called Empower You. But other than that, Weight Free Mind is my website, and my offerings are on there. And I do have a beautiful support group on Facebook, a community, which it's just a private group, but you're welcome to join there. And that's mainly supporting women in overwhelm and anxiety. Definitely find me there. And I have a directory on the Sacred You website, which I think that's all unfolding to great things as well. So there's some offerings there. So if you are a part of the community, you do get some very special offers in that community. So
yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Jo. Really enjoyed our chat.
It's been amazing. I wish we had all day. We could just chat about this forever. But thanks for hosting, Helen. It's been beautiful.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. All right, my lovely, I will chat to you again soon. And anyone watching this, if you've resonated with what Jo's saying, reach out to her. She is an beautifully talented and an incredible woman who is going to be able to help you get to where you want to be. 100%. All right. And we all deserve to be happy. Like you said before, Jo, it is our birthright. And life is meant to be happy. Life is meant to be easy.
Yeah.
And if you would like that, go talk to Jo.
Yeah. And walk around with a smile on your face for no reason.
Yes.
As a hot tip.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Lovely. Thanks, Helen.
Thanks, Jo.
Bye, everybody.